Hello, my name's Ernest Price and I'm here today on Bent TV Transmission talking to Mellem. Now, Mellem, before we get started, what pronouns would you like me to use when I'm speaking with you?
Yeah, thanks, Ernest. I use they, them, their pronouns. Gender neutral.
Absolutely. How do you find people react when you speak to them about your pronouns?
Oh, well, it can be really quite different. Some people are really okay with it and are just on board straight away. There is a lot of blowback from a lot of people, however. They find it really difficult to be able to wrap their head around using gender neutral pronouns in a first person, in a first person perspective. I hear on the grapevine that you're actually a teacher.
I am.
So I know that teachers often say, well, it's really difficult because we don't use them in general sentences at times, but really it always has been. I mean, if you've got your posties coming and they've put mail in and they say, the posties come, I wonder what they've brought me. We're using it in everyday language anyway, so it's...
Absolutely.
It's not that hard.
And I guess people just asking the question in the first place about your pronouns is sometimes the first battle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of rude to just assume that you're making the assumption of someone's sex or someone's gender, and it's not right. It's polite to just make sure that you want to respect someone to allow them to identify who they are and how they are. Ooh.
Absolutely. Now, yesterday you were telling me it was International Non-Binary Day, which is
Yes!
a day I was not aware of. What's some of the thinking behind creating that day?
Oh, well, for quite a long time we've had International Women's Day and International Men's Day. And so there was a lot of people who are existing outside of that going, where's our day? How come we don't have a thing? So we figured the day right in between both of those dates, on the 14th of July, was the perfect time for International Non-Binary Day, which is really good. It's still quite new in its celebration because non-binary people are only now starting to get some space, because even just existing outside of the binary is really difficult because we're really quite invisible. Obviously you're born and they're assigning one of two genders to you. So when you're not there, it's really hard. So this day is really important just around visibility, just to say, hey, people are here and we exist, and it's also a good time to celebrate.
Love a good celebration.
Yeah.
You mentioned, I guess, some of the issues around visibility for non-binary people.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like on a day-to-day basis, or feel like even? I think that told us everything.
It's tiring. It's really tiring. I mean, I had to catch a plane yesterday, and I counted ladies and gentlemen about 50 times in the airport alone. I mean, it's really hard when just a lot of businesses and organisations and everywhere you go is already promoting men and women. You go to shop at a store, you're sent from one section to the other, and you're like, well, where do I go? Where do I fit? How come there's no anything outside of that? And filling in a form can be quite difficult, especially online when they've only got two selections, male and female, and you literally can't fill that in. You're like, I don't fit here. Mm-hmm. And it can be just quite tiring. By the end of the day, I'm pretty much exhausted. I'm like, that's it. Nope, going to sleep. Don't care. Shut off from the world. No more, please.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have pushed back against that, so if you've challenged or asked for, to be addressed in the way that you want to be addressed, what's been your experience?
Wow. Let me tell you, I'm a little insight here. I'm a nerd. I'm a great big nerd in that I love databases, and I recently actually changed my name. And whilst I was in the process of changing my name, I had at least 72 different organisations that I had to contact to change my name. Whilst I was there, I thought, I'm going to change my gender marker on these organisations, including what title I prefer. And for those of you playing at home, it's mixed, which is MX, which is a gender neutral title. So I found that a lot of these different organisations, some are fine, and they've already moved on. I mean, the government's pushing legislation to allow for us to identify outside of this binary, but there are still others that aren't. And so oftentimes when I went to put in mix as my title, it wasn't available because they just didn't have that in their database. So I would tell them, I would send emails to organisations and say, hey, you need to put these options in. I mean, there are people out there that are existing outside of this. We don't want to. You can't box us in, and especially if I've had to fill out a form and then I've selected my title and then you've just chosen one for me, which unfortunately happened. Getting back to your question. Some organisations have actually thanked me and said, look, we were unaware that this is actually an issue, and we're really grateful that you've pointed this out for us, and we're going to be more accommodating for people out there, because I'm not the only one, and the amount of people that are now identifying outside of the gender binary is growing. So it's time for organisations to start being more accommodating.
Absolutely. Now, if people are interested in either getting involved with the non-binary community or finding out a little bit more about some of these issues, do you have any suggestions about where they can head?
Yeah, well, there's a Facebook group called the Australian Non-Binary Community, which has been really helpful to just find other people out there like myself, because I'm not alone as much as I feel like I am at times, because I look around and everything is blue and pink. Some of us are purple.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks.
So my name's Ernest Price, and I was joined today by Mellem on Bent TV Transmission, talking about some of the issues that non-binary people face on a daily basis. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks.